In 2021, Ashni and Avni Bayani, the sons of industrialist Kishore Bayani's future group, launched their own venture. This was a startup studio called Think9 Consumer Technologies, and the concept was simple. They would incubate new brands across categories like apparel, beauty, health, wellness, food, and then use common teams for things like marketing, technology, and even product development. Why? Well, according to an executive from the startup studio, the end goal is to be able to build them into sizable businesses in 5 to 7 years and then exit. It's this thing called the roll-up model, and it was pioneered by a US-based consumer goods company called Thrasio. Today, Think9 houses about 13 brands. You may know some of them, like the gut health and wellness brand The Good Bug and gourmet Italian food company Sorrentina. What ties all of these 13 brands together is the fact that they typically target the top 8 to 10% of Indian consumers. For the Bayani sisters, this isn't just another venture. It is a full-blown comeback. You see, around the time they launched Think9 Consumer Technologies, their father's business empire, the Future Group, was falling apart. It eventually went bankrupt in 2022 and sold everything lock, stock and barrel to Reliance Industries. So the sisters have a point to prove. But unfortunately, not everything is working in their favor. For starters, the roll-up model they base their business on has been stuttering for some time now. Remember Thrasio? Well, it filed for bankruptcy just last year. And there are also examples closer to home, like the Good Glam Group. It acquired a bunch of beauty and personal care brands in 2021, and then they very quickly realized that applying the same content marketing strategy for different products doesn't necessarily give you the same results. What it does do is burn a lot of investor wealth. A consultant who has previously worked with the Future Group told us that the trend of large consumer good companies acquiring smaller digital-first brands has all but fizzled out completely. But beyond just timing, the sisters are faced with an even bigger problem: their legacy. It's proving to be a real double-edged sword for them. On one hand, when people hear the name, they take notice, but on the other, it brings up the specter of unpaid creditors, soured relationships, and dated business practices. The sisters' real test lies in transcending the latter. Welcome to Daybreak, a business podcast from The Ken. I'm your host, Rahel Philippos, and I don't chase the news cycle. Instead, every day of the week, my colleague Snigdha and I will come to you with one business story that is worth understanding and worth your time. Today is Tuesday, the 22nd of April. If you take into account the Bayani family's extensive experience in retail, it may come as a surprise that Ashni and Avni have struggled to scale some of their new brands. Just take their new gourmet supermarket chain and cafe Food Stories, for instance. Thanks to shoppers at its 3 stores and through online channels, Food Stories managed to record sales worth 10 crore rupees in FY24. In comparison, La Marche, the 20-year-old Delhi-based gourmet supermarket chain owned by consumer goods giant Dharampal Satyapal Group, made nearly 7 times the sale across its 10 stores during the same period. Put simply, Food Stories' sales per store were just about half that of La Marche. Even Urban Platter, an online retailer of gourmet and specialty food, saw sales of 54 crore rupees during the same period. Of course, both La Marche and Urban Platter are older brands. But the difference spotlights just how much catching up Food Stories will have to do. Now, the reason for this is actually the family's legacy. The Bayanis have soured their relationships across the spectrum, with FMCG companies and with contract manufacturers, as well as with banks. This doesn't really come as a surprise considering the company owed more than 17,000 crore rupees to creditors across the value chain. It's a once burnt, twice shy sort of situation. So they're all charging Food Stories higher prices to source items, which in turn is passing them on to consumers. And it's not just sourcing products. They're also struggling to hire talent across the pyramid. A senior executive at a supermarket chain who has interviewed Food Stories employees said they've now resorted to attracting talent with 1.5 times salaries. Despite all that, Bayanis are moving forward with expanding Think9. In fact, the company runs a co-founder program where it invites experienced founders who have clocked monthly sales of 1 crore rupees to incubate new brands. But the thing is, at Think9, Bianis are firmly at the helm. So 8 of the 13 brands under Think9 currently have one of their family members as a co-founder. For instance, Ashni and Avni, who formerly headed Future Consumers' FMCG business, as well as Food Hall, which was the earlier avatar of Food Stories respectively, are now in charge of Food Stories and the kids' furniture brand SmartStars. Now, that's also why new founders who want some freedom in their decision-making are actually choosing to distance themselves from the family. And I mean that quite literally. For instance, The Good Bug, which was founded by Prabhu Karthikeyan and Biani's nephew Keshav Biani, moved out of their common office in South Mumbai as soon as it raised external funding. Stay tuned. The Kent recently met up with a 25-year-old named Arjun, who fairly frequently visits an outlet of Think9's retail store, Broadway in New Delhi. He told us that the biggest attraction for him was the vast collection of whites at their in-house apparel brand, Kingdom of Whites. Now, this was a brand that he first discovered on Instagram. In fact, it's among 150 digital-first brands across apparel, shoes, and health that display their products at Broadway. But unfortunately, none of them have quite taken off. Kingdom of Whites has recorded sales of just about 2.5 crore in FY24, while its competitors like Bombay Shirt Company, Snitch and Rare Rabbit sold apparel worth 50 to 500 crore rupees. One reason for this could be because Think9's employees are a little more old school and don't fully understand its target audience of young digital natives. Most of these employees are former Future Group staffers. And in the past too, Future Group hasn't quite been able to adopt the digital playbook. But more importantly, experts in the industry say they have a branding problem. The positioning of most of Think9's brands just does not sit right. Just take protein brand SuperYou, for instance. The brand's protein wafers are placed in the FMCG section at Food Stories, which is a strategic faux pas, considering protein products are usually sold at supplement stores, or at least placed in a dedicated health section. But beyond all of this, perhaps the only place that the Biani name has really helped has been raising money. So far, Think9 has managed to raise over $8 million from investors like Fireside Ventures. And then in March, it went ahead and raised a strategic investment from the investment firm Gruhas. While that is some validation for the Bianis, they are still up against VC and PE investors in building new brands. And to beat them, they'll have to be fiercer and nimbler than they currently are, which is a distant goal by any standard.
Daybreak is produced from the newsroom of The Ken, India's first subscriber-focused business news platform. What you're listening to is just a small sample of our subscriber-only offerings. A full subscription unlocks daily long-form feature stories, newsletters, and podcast extras. Head to theken.com and click on the red subscribe button on the top of the website. Today's episode was hosted by Rahel Philippos and edited by Rajiv CN.